so I'm getting recharged.
So when you say taking some time off to get recharged, so the video game that you want to play got released and you're going to play the shit out of it for 3 days?
Oh yeah.
That's interesting timing. All right, welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name's Ben. We're here to answer your shooting questions. On deck today, we've got Mr. Kimmy. Say hello.
Hi.
And Mr. Matt Hopkins.
Hi.
Matt, I love the energy you're bringing to the table today.
You like it? It's awesome, right?
It's so fucking awesome. It's fantastic. And the things I would do for that. It's great. All right. Here's the first question, guys, because that's what people are here for. I'd like to know if improvements for you and the rest of the guys have generally been gradual, or many of your improvements been quantum leaps. Sometimes I plateau for a while, then fall ass backwards into breakthroughs. This week I realized I've been using too much of front sight focus on close and mid distances. Switching to target focus made an instant improvement in my times. All right, he's talking some shit about his LPRES times that kind of not your main. Okay, so I guess the follow-up question, depending on your answer to that, how do you get these quantum leaps faster? What would you say, Matt? Do you usually improve, or you sort of like make breakthroughs? Would you say, or what?
I think there were some breakthrough times in the training and like skill level advancement, but like now it's like slow, gradual path, if hardly any at all.
So you haven't experienced a sort of a quantum leap sort of improvement in quite a long time, huh?
No, no way to say it's a quantum leap. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I'd say that's a huge like improvement.
Yeah. What about you, Kimmy?
I don't know. No, I have definitely quantum leaps each year actually.
No, not in a year. Like in a couple days.
Oh, in a couple days.
Yeah. Like you do something different, and then instantly you're like, oh, we like got some improvement.
Yes, but my progress, I had a couple of moments like that, especially right after I took your class.
Well,
so I guess
obviously,
everybody. Yeah. So the first quantum leap for me was when I asked you to grip my gun, and I was holding the gun with my right hand, and your support hand gripped it on my strong hand. So feeling how much I should grip the gun was a quantum leap. Definitely, it was one of the biggest. And I think another one was also relaxing. I was really tense. The first year I was trying to get the times down to the benchmark times. So like 1 second draw, 1 second reload kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too aggressive. I was trying to make things happen. I was being like a fighter. So I would rip the gun out of my holster. I would like literally break my magazine pouch because I was trying to grip the magazine really hard kind of thing. And then the podcast episode 5 with Tim Herron, you guys were talking about being relaxed on high hit factor shooting, like hosing shooting.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I should try being relaxed. And that was the quantum leap too. And I had a couple of them.
When's the last time you had one?
It wasn't in a couple of days, but I think it was beginning of the year. This year, about the visualization part, walkthrough, and visualizing in my practice. When I went to matches with that new technique, my new training. So I was only doing repetition, but I changed my training to have actual walkthrough before I shoot the drill, and also visualize in my head before I actually execute that dry fire drill or live fire drill. After doing that over the winter and went to Optics Nationals, and the outcome was pretty good, really good. It was really good. That was the last quantum leap this beginning of the year.
Okay. For me, I don't know that I've had quantum leaps ever. I think it's more that I feel like I do. Does this make sense, guys? Like I'll change something or do something, and I'll feel like I just instantly made a big jump in skill. But looking at scores and stuff, it's not a big jump. It's just sort of like kind of a gradual climb upward. I don't know. I don't feel like I've had a I mean, I might feel like I've had a quantum leap, but looking at the scores in mathematics, I don't think it really works that way for me anyway. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
perception's not really real. Like for you, Kim, when you're talking about gripping your gun differently, you might grip it differently than you feel instantaneously. You're like, oh shit, like this is the way to do it. But you don't really see a big difference in your scores like that day. It takes a while to sort of train
Yes,
and or
I agree.
understand how that works. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that that really happens that way, at least not that I've experienced. And his follow up question here is how do you get these quantum leaps faster? The only thing I can think of is you got to experiment, you got to try things.
Yes. Like you just said, gradual increase.
Yeah.
My shooting skill increase is also like that. It's kind of like the economy graph. So the economy goes up, but there's a small down, and it goes higher than before, but small down. So that's how you go up and up and up. So how my shooting was like that too. I do experimentation. I may actually go down while experimenting, and after experimentation, I find the technique it works for me, and uh, do repetitions on that and do practice on that, then my shooting will go up. But I do eventually another experimentation, keep doing experimentation. Then when I do experimentation, it can go down, but eventually I find the right answer, then it will go up.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Matt?
I mean, it makes sense. I think my biggest closest to a quantum leap was when I decided to go faster, and like that's the only thing. That's the biggest leap I think I can say that I can at least put my hand on, and it wasn't really that much.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing could be actually listening to others, listening to people who has maybe better perspective or different perspective. So recently, I'm talking to physical trainers a lot and listening to how they view, let's say, this top shooter is this kind of shooting style, and he engages, like lats and core, or this shooter is just running like a maniac kind of thing. So people have different perspective. When I see shooters, I'm most of the time focused on their shooting and shooting fundamentals and discipline area. But some people who works out a lot can actually see the muscle part that I can't really see because I've never did sport. So actually hiring someone or taking class or talking to somebody who can see different views and who can tell you different opinions can be good.
Have you actually taken video of a top shooter and showed it to them?
Yeah, I'm sure he has.
What was that?
Hey, do
Kim,
you,
have you
you show
actually?
top shooter video to physical trainers?
Of course.
That
See,
isn't you.
That is also
I
me and isn't me. Both.
Okay.
I'm sure it
How's that
just
helped you?
Oh, it gave me a lot of ideas, and it definitely guided me what I want to train after this shooting season is over.
Okay.
So I'm excited for that. But I think I'm gonna have maybe not quantum leaps, but definitely some kind of leap by next year.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Ben, I recently decided to get serious about training and purchase all your books and DVDs and dry fire targets, blah, 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 blah. Okay. My question. Should I build solid... So these guys built his own shooting range. My question, should I build solid barrier walls from 2x2s and corrugated plastic or use see-through mesh snow fence? Most clubs near me use mesh, but I think it's easier to game because you can see through it and this planned and acquired targets. What do you recommend and why? You guys don't have a recommendation here, I reckon.
I know what I'd recommend.
What would you recommend?
Build like 4 solid walls and 4 mesh walls, and change it up.
Like this guy's he's so next level right now. He's got his own shooting range, and he wants to know what kind of walls are the right kind of walls to build.
Build a little of both.
But no, but how many people are on this level?
Oh, it's pretty awesome.
Not just should I build walls, but what kind of walls? This is fantastic. What would you say?
Decent problem to have, right?
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. What would you say, Mr. Kim?
Is this guy trying to shoot live bullets?
I'm sure he is.
Oh, can you do that?
At your house? If you live in a shitty place that you don't want to live at, yes, you can probably shoot there. You know, like
man.
out in the country.
Why do you have to build a wall? Just shoot it.
I don't know why build a shooting range in your yard.
Buy some hash and
Hash.
I would say
hash, not hash, haze. Yeah, hay.
not
Farm
hash.
haze.
Yeah, hash is a different thing.
It's like hash brown.
Yeah. Matt, I like your idea of 50-50, but just aesthetically, I don't dig the snow fence, so I would not be inclined to have any transparent walls. I like the plastic. The clubs up by me use that. But what I would want for the walls is instead of having them be sort of light and have them go into wall stands or something like that, or go into posts. So some people zip time to posts, something like that. I would say build fucking heavy self-supporting walls. Because that's way better for training. You just kind of like drag them around to where you want them, and they're heavy enough you don't have to worry about them blowing over or something. Like that's what I would want. I wouldn't want sort of lightweight stuff, even though that it seems more sensible to have it be light. I wouldn't want that. I want it to be heavy and self-supporting, so I kind of drag it around to where I want it and leave it there, and it's still there 2 weeks later.
What about a semi-permanent thing like putting posts in the ground and you could like screw a wall to it? That'd be pretty permanent.
Yeah, but you want to be able to move the wall. That's the
You
big
can.
issue. Yeah, if you take the fucking posts out.
No, you just work off the posts you have. Like you could do a lot with like 4 or 6
okay,
posts
so
in the ground.
you take the wall off the posts, and then you want to do like a movement drill, and now you got the post in the way. Like that's not what I want. I want to not dick with any posts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but
But
he
what?
only has a 15 by 30 yard range.
Yeah. I don't know. I say opaque vision barrier. I like the plastic a lot. The clubs up by me use the plastic, so I like that quite a lot. And so like semi, I don't know, sort of like obnoxiously heavy on some level walls that support themselves. You drag them around to where you want them.
I like wallow barrels. Barrels?
Yes, barrels are the obvious answer instead of building walls, but this guy wants to build walls because he's a badass. I use barrels at my range. Kind of like, you can do a lot of stuff with barrels. You want to have a low port, you just have a couple barrels on one side, stack another barrel on the top, or you can hide swingers behind them and all sorts of different configurations. Like barrels make a lot of sense. But if he's doing walls, do the plastic. All right, let's go to the next one. Guy has a question about doing dry fire training. So, my question is this. Many of your drills require multiple engagements with multiple targets. How do I simulate the follow-up shots with dry fire? I just feel like pressing the trigger with no response isn't going to help. Maybe I'm wrong. Your drills do sound like they'll help shooters at all levels. I'm a novice shooter just getting into USPSA events, and I need all the help I can get. So, how do we simulate the follow-up shots, Mr. Kim?
Well, basically, the sight doesn't move in dry fire. So for me, how I simulate follow shot is by uh, the trigger control part. So I would, before I shoot the drill, I know what kind of difficulty of the shot it's gonna be. So I'm gonna determine if I'm gonna slap the heck out of the trigger, or if I'm gonna pull smoothly. So I usually pull twice, right? Because in this sport you pull twice. The first shot will be just like regular first shot, and the second shot will be either slapping really hard or pulling really smoothly. Basically, that's it. But I'm gonna be observing what's going on the side and all that.
What do you think, Matt? How do we do? From all
I don't
your
have much
extensive dry fire
experience. I don't have much experience with this, so I don't want to like make myself look bad. So I'm just going to refer to the experts.
So to simulate your follow-up shots, or what people want to do is sort of do something to account for the recoil. And I would say you should do exactly what you do if there's recoil, and that's nothing. Right? So normally when you're shooting live ammo, you just hold the gun, and as you shoot it, you let it come back down. You hold as hard as you can, let it come out of recoil, and shoot again. You don't push into the gun. You don't push the trigger sideways or something like that. So you should handle it exactly the same way shooting dry, which is point the gun at the target, hold the gun fucking hard, and then work the trigger twice. If the shot's really difficult, you do the same thing you would do with live ammo, and that's confirm the sight picture between shots. If that makes sense. So instead of thinking about it like, oh, I'll just slow down on the harder shots, instead of doing that, you want to confirm the sight picture consciously between shots, which will make you slower, but it's a different sort of way of thinking. So the way you simulate it, don't do shit. What do you think about that, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, well explained. I like it.
Yes, do nothing. The one thing that you should be conscious of when you're doing dry fire is you're going to grip the gun a lot differently dry than shooting live, probably, and you'll pull the trigger different, probably. So what I tell people to do is when you're working the trigger dry, press it really hard, because that's probably what you'll do shooting live ammo. When you've got the live gun going off in your hand, your firing hand's going to tense up and you'll be pulling the trigger really hard. So just do that in dry fire and get used to pulling the trigger hard and straight. It doesn't matter if you pull it hard, so long as you put the pressure straight back into the gun, that's going to be fine. So that's one thing I would do to sort of prepare yourself for shooting when there's recoil. So, I mean, I appreciate this question. I get it. I certainly thought the same way when I started. I'm like, well, there's no recoil, so what the fuck? Like, this is stupid. But I mean, it does work. It makes sense as long as you do the same things you're going to do when there's recoil.
Yeah, one of the downside in the beginning of my shooting when I did dry fire, I would just yank 2 shots on the target even if it's a hard shot. So the downside was I would maybe hit alpha, delta, alpha, mic sometimes.
Yeah.
Right now what I do is, like I said, I observe the side picture, but I don't think it as one side picture to pull. I would differentiate the first pull and the second pull. So I would be almost reconfirming the second shot, even though the sight doesn't move or anything like that. I would maybe psychologically confirm the second shot.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
It does. All right. Well, 3 questions. Gotta love it. All right. That's enough questions for one day. All right, listeners, if you have a shooting question you want the answer to, go to benstigger.com, send us your question. We'd be more than happy to answer it, especially Hopkins. Right, Matt?
As long as I can answer it intelligently, I will.
Jesus.